Hello, beautiful writers. Let's talk about voice for a second. What is voice? I am pretty sure that you have heard this term over and over again. People, are looking for new voices. People recommend you have a voice as a writer, but what does it actually really mean? When I first started to, ask exactly this question, there was someone in my life who said to me, you know what your voice is? That's how you speak. And I thought, okay, that's not very helpful. Then later on, I, came to the conclusion there's definitely something in that. Let's, dig a little deeper to find out what voice is really all about. And most importantly, how you can find your own voice as a writer. Let's do it. The voice part about writing is sort of, this mystified element that either you have or you don't. Or at least this is what they want you to believe. I'm a true believer in that everyone can accomplish anything. It's just a matter of how much time this person spends, honing whatever he or she is trying to achieve. I'm also, a firm believer that we all are born with a similar skill set, but, the circumstances under which we grow up sort of define or make it easier or harder for us to achieve something that we really set out to do. But that's about it. I mean, there's no magical, sprinkle of fairy dust that, rubs up upon you and makes you a more talented writer than anyone else. What is voice exactly? Since I said someone told me your voice is how you speak, I thought, at the time, I thought, well, this is pretty dumb. Of course, that's my voice. What else should it be, right? But thinking about it now with, the experience that I have now, it wasn't such a bad advice. I wasn't really capable of understanding it then, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. The thing that makes it true, because what voice really is, it is, first off, it's your attitude, it's your tone, and it's your personal taste and your personal style. That's really what voice is. Most of all, the first two aspects of it, like the attitude part and the tone part, are the most important things. But there is also something else, because if that is missing, it really doesn't matter what attitude you have, or to put it another way, there is not much of an attitude to have. What I'm talking about is your perspective, your unique personal perspective on life, on things, and most importantly on the topic or the subject that you're trying to, get across within your movie. Like, what is the theme of it? And the theme is something that will be, an initial part of your voice, because theme will be a constant in your writing. Once you have discovered what your theme really is, then you will not only find that this is an underlying, aspect in all of your writing, and that has to do with your perspective on things, on life, and on certain topics. And this will reflect back to your theme. The voice aspect of it, the tonality and the attitude is something that, goes hand in hand with the whole thing. Because your attitude will then, be something that comes naturally. It comes with the territory. Knowing your theme, being very open about your perspective on life and discussing this thematic questions, will always, bring out your attitude towards things. And the tone aspect of it is then how you convey the whole thing. Does it have a dark tone? Does it have a light tone? That has to do with your personality. Are you, an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you, what is your energy level? Are you a positive, always optimistic one? Are you probably more pessimistic? That is what really makes up the tone of the whole thing. And the voice aspect then really comes to show by adding your personal taste and your personal style to it. And the style aspect of it is like, what words you use, what grammar you use, like how do you build the sentences you use. Is there a certain speech pattern that you use that's really unique to you? And again, then it's, the aspect of someone that, told me, it's the way you speak. That's really what it comes down to in the end. That's really an aspect of your voice, is how you speak, how you present yourself. When you speak up your mind or you have strong feelings about something, whether it's, negative or positive, it doesn't matter. It will then, bring out your attitude towards things. Let's for a second try to figure out how to bring out the voice in you, which is ultimately what we all want, right? So there's one thing that makes it all the more easy to, have your voice on the page. And that is knowing your readers. Of course, when you start out, I totally get it that you don't know who your readers are. And you therefore don't know whom to address. It becomes all the more easy if you address an imaginative reader. It's basically like you're trying to picture in your mind someone that you're telling this story to. Just by doing this, your writing will be more focused, it be more clear, and it will have voice. And it will have your voice, because that is exactly how you would interact with people around you. The other thing that you can sort of try out is to free write. Let's start by choosing a theme, and then you just free float. You just sit down and write. No distractions, no limitations, no it's gonna be like this, no genre, nothing. Just whatever comes out of you comes out of you, and you let it flow, and that's it. That's another way to figure out what your voice really is, because it will show then. It will show. But I encourage you to pick, a theme that is not only dear to you, but something that is creating great emotional turmoil within you. Whether it's a trauma, whether it's, a breakup situation. Look for these, emotional peaks within your life. And also something to then check if it's your voice and if it's appealing to you is when you sit down and reread what you have written. And you should, while rereading, you should always constantly ask yourself, okay, is this something that I would want to read? If it's not, then it's most definitely not your voice. It's most definitely not you being as honest as you can be. You will experience a shift in your writing. The honesty, the brutal honesty of things, like really being honest with yourself, being honest on the page, will be, the most important aspect of it all. And it will also go hand in hand with your voice. Last but not least, read a huge variety of books and screenplays of whatever genre, of whatever premise. Don't be so limited when it comes to reading. The best thing happens to you in terms of understanding what voice is if you read a lot of different voices. If you read just one voice that you feel, compelled to, it could also happen that you, whether consciously or subconsciously, adapt their, style of writing, and maybe even to a degree where you adopt or try to mimic their attitude. Okay, that's it for today. In the descriptions below, I will put a few links to screenplays where I think they have the most unique and most strong voices that I know of. Yeah, and then, like and subscribe and all this good stuff, and let your voice be heard. See you in the next one, guys. Right on.